since I have recorded a podcast. In the process of like moving our house, getting our home ready, and at the same time finding out that I'm pregnant. Right now, we're really excited, and I genuinely think my husband is more excited than me. I was talking with another pregnant friend yesterday about how we see, like, as women, as the ones carrying the child, we don't necessarily see, I mean, we do see, but we don't necessarily see that bright, shiny future with the baby in the bassinet and the family meeting, the child and the cousins getting together and stuff. We don't see that yet. We see growing a human, and then we see getting the human out. One small thing that the other half does not have to do, whether they are able to do that or not. So it was just kind of funny. We were walking, and she's more pregnant than I am. She's due in a few weeks, and I'm not. But it was just funny to be talking and walking and waddling and just thinking about all the stuff that's going to happen in our lives and all the changes that are going to happen. And it really like inspired me, and the people that have inspired me the most on this journey have actually been the clients, the pre and postnatal clients that I have worked with in the gym and online. So today I wanted to bring a little bit of light to the pregnancy journey as a nutritional therapist and personal trainer. So with that being said, welcome to another episode of the Being You Pod, giving you the information that you need without the waffle that often permeates a lot of podcasts these days, just because you don't have time for that. So I'm trying to make this as concise as possible, okay? But I just wanted to bring a little bit of a reality check to the pregnancy journey. And with all of my wealth of knowledge, with all the expertise and experience that I bring to the table as a personal trainer and a nutritional therapist who has worked in the pre and postnatal universe, some of the things that have been nailed every day and also some of the things that have been missed might surprise you. So let's dive into it. First of all, my pregnancy fitness journey hasn't been what I would expect it to be. I'm a really active person outside of work. And right now, for the past few years, my work has been less in person and has been more programming and feedback for clients online. So my activity level has stepped down a touch. I've been really into teaching group fitness classes in my community. I have been teaching fitness classes in pharmaceutical companies to give their employees access to wellness facilities that don't involve an extra commute before and after work. And those seasons have ebbed and flowed. Like, it's typically during the school term I'm really busy, and then during the summer and Christmas it's been a little bit quieter. But my fitness journey hasn't been what I expected it would be, but the little things that I have been able to do have helped a lot, and so I'm sharing those. The first thing that has helped is actually just completely breaking down the barrier around exercise and like time limitations and what exercise should, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see that I put that in inverted commas, should look like walking. It has been a lot of walking, genuinely. When I first found out I was pregnant, I was super energetic. I was obviously still very early on, and I was thinking, and like 2 or 3 weeks after finding out I was pregnant, I was kind of thinking, okay, this is first trimester, like morning sickness, let's go, tiredness, let's go, food aversions, cravings, I'm here for it. None of that stuff had really settled in, and so I felt really good. one of the first things I noticed, and kind of one of the first things that made me think, ooh, something could have happened here, was I was in swim training and I was having the hardest time sprinting. I felt like all of a sudden I had this barrier on how fast I could go. And I'd never had that barrier before. I'd always been able to just go as fast as I can, but something was holding me back. I was so breathless. I was so breathless, and I was thinking, great, I think I'm pregnant. So the breathlessness really came on quite quickly. That's one of the first things that I kind of thought, okay, maybe I should take a test. But walking became the only thing that I could do, and even walking was tiring. I just accepted it as a form of cardio and a form of movement because I'm busy gestating, whatever. Cells are dividing, making this thing. And as well, something that I think a lot of women forget and most men don't know, in that first trimester, you're making a human, but you're also making the organ that's going to support that human. So your body is making the placenta, and that is hard work. And that's actually what causes a lot of first trimester fatigue. Of course, making the human causes fatigue, but the fact that you're making the human and you've got to make another organ to help keep that human alive, that causes a lot of chaos. So all of my swimming, all of my strength training quickly went out the window, and it became a fight to survive. If I got out for a 20-minute walk, that was like mission accomplished. That was a really active day. But I did my best to try and take the pressure off of, okay, you have to strength train twice a week or 3 times a week. You have to swim twice a week or 3 times a week because all of this exercise is good for the baby and it's good for your pregnancy and it's going to help your labor and delivery and it's going to help you come back quicker. I was enlightened to the fact of just how tired you are in your first trimester. And I really give props to every single client, every single pregnant client I've ever seen in the gym or ever worked with online, because that fatigue is gnarly. It's so gnarly. Like, you're just sitting there and you're like, I need to eat. I'm kind of hungry. I'm kind of not. And I quite honestly, I don't even have the energy to make a slice of toast. Any client that has showed up, and if you are currently pregnant or you are newly postpartum and you're starting to look at returning to your exercise routine, I commend you already for even thinking about that, because even thinking about exercise when you're pregnant and postpartum is a challenge. So having to just muddle through it and try and get through it was a journey. It was a journey. I think I was lucky if I got to swim twice a week. I was lucky if I got to strength train once a week in my first trimester. And again, as a personal trainer, someone who loves exercise, someone who loves feeling strong and fast and powerful, that was, wow, that was a new concept to embrace. So I let go of what exercise means to me and kind of just reminded myself in that first trimester period, especially, that like the fatigue and the tiredness and the nauseousness because of the tiredness that I'm feeling now, that is going to be directly reflected in my brand new parenthood journey. When I have our baby, I'm going to be a shell of myself. I'm just assuming that, and I'm accepting that fact now. And again, that's not me predicting that future for myself. Of course, I want to feel vibrant. I want to feel supported. I want to feel whole. But from my experience in working with clients in this environment, in this situation, it's a little more nuanced than that. And it's not peaceful, whole, vibrant. It's like clinging on for dear life every day is a wild ride. So first trimester was definitely like that. I had some days where I felt so good. And there were some days where I'd be sitting in my car and really procrastinating walking into a studio to teach a class and thinking, how am I going to get through the next hour of my life? Instructing clients and making it look like I'm enjoying my job. So that was that. Something else that's really helped recently is mobility work. And this is something that I'm living with every day. Lower back pain is something that I've been experiencing since pretty early on. It settled in and it was like mild, right at the base of my spine. My mom was sharing how it could be because ligaments and stuff in your pelvic floor are just stretching to obviously make space for everything. And being a dancer and now being a trainer and somebody who enjoys feeling fit and strong, all of that stuff stretching out is a very new experience for my body. So that back pain, my mom was saying, this could be a cause. I still haven't seen a physio. That's a different story for a different day. But it's definitely a pain that I've just had to learn to live with. Some days are better than others. And it depends on the movement that's in that day. It depends on how I slept the night before, whatever. Mobility work has started to help that. It's not something that I integrated straight away. Straight away, I just accepted it as, okay, this is part of my pregnancy. I'm going to have this lower back pain and maybe it will go away after I give birth. In hindsight, being proactive with that would have been really helpful because now I'm in my second trimester and I'm still dealing with this back pain. I am finally getting on the road to seeing a physical therapist about it. But I really should have, as soon as I felt that pain, I should have, and especially as soon as my mom helped me identify it's because of your baby, I should have booked in with a women's health physical therapist, at least just to see, okay, you get somebody with a bit more scope of practice in that area to explain to me, this is what's happening to your body, and this is what you can do to help it if you want. Knowledge is power, and I don't have the knowledge in that area. In hindsight, I should have started the mobility work beforehand. But even so, like now, the mobility work feels like a workout for me. It's movement for my body, and that feels really supportive without feeling high intensity. So I still do have days where I'm quite tired, and I know that going into third trimester, I'm going to be more tired. Again, mobility work helps a lot, and I wish I started it sooner. And it doesn't have to be a lot, but I genuinely do feel better when I'm focusing on internal and external rotation in my hips, when I'm focusing on lower back rotation and extension, and also when I'm focusing on core support. And that's not just pelvic floor, I'm talking about my obliques and my glutes and the muscles in my back as well. So I should have gotten on that earlier, and I should have gotten on my pelvic floor health earlier as well. And this is my first pregnancy. I've never been pregnant before, so I didn't really know. And when I look at my mom, who's birthed 3 kids and is a neonatal nurse, she is literally baby superwoman to me. So my mom went to a step aerobics class in the 90s, the day before she had me. She went into work the morning of the day she had me. So in my head, I was like, cool, I'm gonna be like my mom. I'm just gonna keep going and it's gonna be fine. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. So I should have gotten on my pelvic floor health earlier. That's like my only regret of the whole process, of this whole first trimester, second trimester journey. I didn't get on that quick enough. So now, and the reason being is it's going to help down the line. And I've seen that with postpartum clients coming back to the gym. Those who have just taken like a little bit of effort to maybe just go see a women's health physical therapist or start doing Kegels or something like this. Those clients that have done that in their pregnancy or throughout their pregnancy have had a smoother return in the gym, whereas clients who perhaps didn't know about it, didn't want to, didn't feel comfortable, or weren't able to, whatever reason you have is a reason, that's fine. clients that did not prioritize that in pregnancy have had a bit of a bumpier start to the return to routine journey. And it's almost always in the ones who are the most eager to get back to their routines, get back to their walking, their gym workouts, their classes, whatever. It's almost always those ones that are the ones who have had to take more time because they've needed to address pelvic floor and breath work first in a more intense manner than those who have been doing little bits throughout their pregnancy. They've been able to maintain what they've needed to maintain, and they've had a quicker return than those who are like eager beaver ready to roll. So I wish I got on that beforehand. Yeah, it just would have helped a lot. Something that has helped though in the workouts that I have been doing and the swim training that I have been doing, because that's my chosen form of cardio, is taking more rest between exercises, especially during the first trimester. That really helps me get through workouts. Every workout felt like a challenge, whether I loved the workout or not. I love strength training. Like, I love deadlifts in any way, shape, or form. Deadlifts are, my favorite. I had to take more rest between them though, because even though I love them in any variation, they felt like the biggest mountain to climb. Same thing with swim. I just had to take more rest. And that helped me get through the workout versus going into it in almost too intense a fashion and then realizing, okay, I'm too tired for this, I'm exhausted, and I don't like the way I feel, so I'm stopping. Taking more rest, just taking it a bit more slowly, was super helpful, because not only could I physically keep up with exercising for the amount of time that I wanted to, mentally I could keep up with the focus needed to make sure I was maintaining good form. And as bump has started to grow, I'm able to keep that form or figure out where I need to adapt my movement pattern to support the fact that I have a growing belly and I have a lower back that's got more pressure on it these days than it did a few months ago. So taking more rest between exercises and between sets has helped my workouts feel less burdensome and more, I don't want to say enjoyable, because it honestly hasn't been enjoyable, but just more supportive. I think if I was heading into workouts and trying to push myself to the max, I wouldn't be enjoying exercise as much, and I wouldn't be able to keep it up in such consistency that I have now. I've gotten out of that first trimester lump. It's helped me be able to exercise more consistently by taking that more rest. And that's what I really preach to all clients. With your exercise routine, it is the consistency that matters. It is the consistency that creates your motivation and your progress. It's not the intensity of your workout. It's that consistency concept. So if you're pregnant or you're postpartum and you're feeling like your workout routine or your movement routine is really overwhelming, I would highly suggest slowing it down a touch and see, does that help with both your physical response as well as your mental and emotional response to what you're doing. So there's that. That's like all the exercise stuff that I've noticed throughout my first and second trimester. In terms of diet, before finding out I was pregnant, I was a very plant-based eater. I'd eat fish. And that was the diet that I followed leading up to pregnancy. I found out I was pregnant in end of October. This is February right now. End of October of last year, found out I was pregnant. A few months before that, I competed in a really big swim meet in Belgrade. It was a European swim meet. And then, so actually, my preparations for that swim meet, and ergo my pregnancy by consequence, started in February of last year. So February now, in February of last year, I was focusing on increasing my protein intake mainly. I was eating a very high protein diet, trying to make sure I was getting all my fiber in as well, good carbohydrates for energy use. That food diary is what fueled my pregnancy or my conception. Now we're really focused on red meat for iron. As somebody who does not eat meat traditionally, my iron levels were flagged straight away by my doctor and the nurse. You know, they do preliminary blood work when you find out you're pregnant, and they were kind of saying, okay, your iron is good for you, but your iron is not in where it needs to be for you and a growing baby. So I just said, I'm not going to do iron injections. I'm not going to take an iron supplement, because the world of supplementation around pregnancy, I feel, can be very foggy, and I don't want to do something that is not thoroughly researched. So what I did instead was I made sure to incorporate red meat into my food diary every few weeks. I don't eat it every week. Every few weeks, red meat. Salmon, lots of salmon for like myself, my comfort, my happiness, and also for brain development. Omega fatty acids are superior for brain development, in my opinion, and from what I've seen in my practice. So there's been a lot of salmon, a lot of cooked salmon. I have the whole pasteurized versus unpasteurized thing in pregnancy. I probably have controversial opinions on it, but that's a different podcast episode. If you want to hear about it, let me know in the comments. We've done red meat, a lot of salmon, chicken. There's been a lot of chicken for protein, obviously. There's been a lot of spinach for non-heme iron, for plant-based iron. There's been lots of nuts, lots of macadamias, lots of walnuts, lots of cashews. There's been a lot of berries, and there's been a lot of citrus, clementines, oranges, lemon on everything. That's just been something that I think was more of a comfort thing and a nausea thing in the first trimester. But the kid still loves clementines, so we're gonna take it. And lots of berries. Like, I don't normally snack on berries. Normally I would snack on apples or melon or pineapple or something like this. Berries have been the only snack. Apples, don't know what they are anymore. There's been no weird cravings, no weird aversions. However, I cannot eat the same thing, and I still really can't eat the same thing twice in a row. I'd normally be a food prepper, and I would prep the same lunch for like 3 or 4 days. I'd wake up the next morning after having it one day, and the idea of eating that meal would absolutely repulse me. The only thing I have been able to eat the same thing day after day after day is breakfast. It's always been protein oats and 2 hard-boiled eggs. That was first trimester, and it's still appearing on my breakfast plate at least 3 times a week in the second trimester. So there's that. Chocolate and I had a rough breakup for a while. We are getting more acquainted with each other, but I cannot say we've totally healed our relationship. But this, and again, that was another thing that I kind of flagged as I should take a pregnancy test. In the week leading up to my period, I can actually have a full, like, Lindt or Godiva chocolate bar every day. Like the one with 8 squares. And they're like, a serving size is 2 squares. I'm like, a serving size is the whole thing. I normally have a whole one of those every single day leading up to my period. And there were the week that I'd like purchased my bars because I was prepped. I was like, cool, this is leading up to period week. I'm going to need the chocolate. And I realized like midweek, I was thinking, I don't even want that chocolate bar. Uh-oh. So that was a thing for me. This baby is not really a big fan of sweets. And I'll have chocolate now in small amounts. So there's that. And then supplements. We'll go into this more in depth in another episode maybe, but in my work, the biggest thing that you are going to recommend to people is methylfolate. And in a perfect world, I would have taken methylfolate, but I took folic acid just because that's what I could do at the time. It's what I had access to the quickest, and it's what I'd been taking in my prenatal. So methylfolate is ideal. It's methylated folate, it's more absorbable. However, there is no problem if you're taking folic acid. You will not struggle, and neither will your baby if you're taking folic acid. But if you have the choice of the creme de la creme, the best thing ever, methylfolate is the way to go. Other things that I've done every day are vitamin D and electrolytes. Electrolytes have helped me with my hydration immensely. Drinking a lot of water does not feel great on my stomach. Vitamin D for happiness. I live in a country where it is cloudy 362 days of the year. So vitamin D has been really helpful just for my mood and my mental emotional health, because I think that plays a lot into your baby and your baby's well-being mentally and emotionally as well. And I don't think it's fair to the baby to not prioritize my own mental and emotional health. So vitamin D has helped with that a lot. Electrolytes for hydration, folic acid, methylfolate, those are all musts. I was taking magnesium during my first trimester, and to be honest, I just haven't repurchased it. Something else that I was taking first trimester that I've gotten on top of with my dietary intake now is B12. I was using a B12 oral spray because I was aware that could be a bit low as well. That helps with folic acid absorption and just overall digestion. So that's something I was doing first trimester. Haven't done it since, and I haven't really felt the need to. I haven't felt incredibly low energy, aside from the obvious growing a human, and now I need to take a nap. Anyway, that is pregnancy thus far. It's not something that I'm choosing to make my identity. So if you follow me on Instagram, it's not something that I am choosing to use to boost my business or boost my content engagement. My pregnancy is very personal to me and my family. This is something that I am really actually looking forward to keeping out of the realm of what I share publicly on the internet. But that being said, I am willing, because of being a nutritional therapist and understanding that a lot of the people that are in this following are people around my age looking to have a family, whether that be having your family yourself or adopting or surrogacy or IVF or things like that. That is very much on people's realms. So I'm here to help, and I'm here to answer questions about that, but you won't necessarily hear like all the gnarly details about pregnancy and birth and postpartum. That's not my thing. But anyway, thank you for tuning into today's episode. If you like today's episode, leave a comment or message me on Instagram and tell me what you'd like to hear more about. Make sure to rate and review the podcast, the Being You Pod. It helps a lot to make sure that this kind of information gets into the hands of those who need it most. And if you want to work with me, whether that be joining Function or booking into the Empowered Nutrition Clinic, you can find more information about that at www.beufitnessandnutrition.com, or you can email me info@beufitnessandnutrition.com, and I will see you all next time.